So in this lecture, we're going to talk about the hierarchy of dog needs, and this was created by Linda Michaels, and I will link down below a link where you can basically access the whole pyramid, and I popped everything that is on the main pyramid into different slides, so we will go over this. But if you want to read up more on this, etc., yeah, you can find the link basically in the description and simply go check out her webpage. So this one's actually quite similar to Maslow's hierarchy. So it is just the doggy version if you want so. And we adhere to no harm training. That also means that we don't train with choke collars, e-collars, etc. And that, yeah, we believe that dominance theory is dead. So this is but it's seen as the new standard or like the current standard. But just so you know, there will be trainers out there in the world who do train obviously in a balanced and like quotes balanced approach or use aversives. So in this pyramid or hierarchy, we have on the bottom biological needs, then we have emotional needs, social needs, force retraining needs, and then cognitive needs. And obviously we want to have an enriched life for our dog. We want to fulfill the needs on all layers. So if we're going to have a look at the biological needs, and this is kind of like the basis, like this is the must have if you want to, so this is like the minimum requirement. So we have proper nutrition, we have fresh water available at any given time, and fresh water also means obviously cleaning the bowl regularly, etc. Sufficient exercise, and we are going to talk about what sufficient exercise means in a later lecture when we talk about physical enrichment and how much exercise dogs actually need. So generally, of course, our dogs do need exercise, and they need more than this, but every dog needs exercise. And of course, this can vary depending on age, health, fitness, etc. So we will go over this later on and also differentiate what sufficient exercise means for different type of dogs, for different ages, etc. Then we have air, of course, sleep, and with sleep, this is another thing I think to keep in mind, that dogs do sleep a lot. By the way, if you hear snoring in the background, it's my dogs currently being asleep. So this means uninterrupted sleep, where they have a proper sleep, but also time to relax and, just have the opportunity to doze off and just not do anything. Then we have indoor shelter. So this means not leaving a dog outside, in the garden, or being tied up onto a tree or whatever. So proper like pet dogs, indoor shelter. Even if you have a working dog, you want to provide indoor shelter. Safety, temperature control, so that you can regulate that it's not too cold or not too warm. Gentle grooming and gentle veterinary care. So grooming obviously again can vary what kind of dog you have. If you have a fluffy doodle, then you probably need to groom them more than if you have a pit bull or a bully braid or whatever. However, you still want to do this in a gentle approach, and this obviously also then extends to the people who you trust with this activity. So this would be in your case then probably a groomer, where you want to make sure the groomer also takes into account the dog's state. Is the dog scared? Is it gentle, or is it kind of like a torture? As well as a gentle veterinary care. So there's, for example, a lot of vets who would respect the dog's space, and also there are some vets who would, for example, examine them on the floor rather than having them on the table, which can add on obviously a lot of scary bits for dogs. So if they're generally nervous, then being lifted up on the steel table, being touched by a stranger, etc., might be just adding to the pressure and unpleasantness. So they might just, be really calm, give them treats, talk to them nicely, and just check them on the floor so they can be actually helped by their human, etc. So all of this is also seen as a basic need, and you can of course just prepare your dog for handling, etc. So your dog is actually getting used to this and cooperative care. Then we have a dog's emotional needs, and this is security, consistency, love, trust, and gentle leadership. Consistency in the sense as well as that we want the dog to be able to know they are safe with us. So we are not one day like this and another day like that. So this does not necessarily mean that we have to stick to a routine and cannot, ditch the routine at one point. But the dog needs to know they are safe and that they can trust you. So Emotional regulation, if you want to, would be one point that falls into the consistency kind of scale. As well, of course, they know they get food, they get fed, all of this. Love, trust, so they can trust you also to keep them safe, which includes things like advocating for your dog and keeping them safe. Whether this would be by wearing something like yellow dog gear for anxious dogs. One thing I would like to highlight here is the leadership part. And so, being a bully mom myself, I have two bully breed dogs, and being a dog trainer specializing in bully breeds as well as in rescue dogs, very often people think that the bully breeds need a hard hand, and it's not just bully breeds, it's of course also other breeds, like whether this is a Malinois or a Shepherd or whatever, but very, very often this is with bully breeds, and the experience I've made is that this could not be further from the truth. If you have a dog who trusts you, who you love and also show love to, and who knows they are safe and secure with you, and you provide the security they need, then you will be so much more effective. Of course, you want to do training, and we talk about this in a minute, but there is no hard need handed. Very often it just leads to avoiding a certain behavior because you're scared of the consequences. Will have maybe quick results, but it's not working on the underlying emotions, etc. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight this. There is absolutely no reason why dogs should have a hard hand or anything, purely because there are certain breeds, etc. So we want to be the leader for a dog who is gentle, kind, who's friendly. Then we have social needs, and one thing I would like to highlight here is that very often, and this started when I added a second dog to a family, and now we have four, we have foster family as well for dogs, that people come to me and say, oh, I really should get my dog a companion, and he would be so much happier if he would have a doggy sister or a doggy brother. And this does not have to be the case. Not every dog is dog friendly or keen on having doggy companions. So this can of course include playing with other dogs, but it does not need to be in the same household. And very often, if you add a second dog to a household, then you add complexity. So this should be a decision that is more than, I just want to get a dog for my dog kind of thing. It's more, what do you want and what can you handle as well. So play could be with a dog, and also bonding with dogs, going to the dog park maybe, or going on walks with other dogs, do things with other dogs. However, not every dog wants this or needs this. So the social need obviously can also include quality time with their humans. Loads of dogs do want to hang out with their humans way, way more than we maybe can provide. So really having quality time, if it's not the quantity we can provide with the time being at home or whatever it might be. And we of course can also play with our dogs. We can have touch with our dogs. We can touch them, we can give them a massage, we can cuddle them, we can stroke them, we can brush them, all of these things. And this is important. Also maybe meeting other people, going out and about, basically having good time and good relationships with people and dogs, or only with people. And also maybe to add this, even if a dog is reactive towards other dogs, most dogs are not like super dog friendly or, get along with every dog, and neither do we as humans. So one thing you can also do is to just have quality friends, or like quality time with like your doggy friends or your dog's friends. So dogs are as selective as we are, and only because your dog doesn't get along with everyone doesn't mean your dog is dog aggressive or anything. So they might be dog selective. So for them it might be really high value and a really good time to just hang out with their doggy pal, but not making constantly new friends all the time. So quite the same as humans are, I guess. Then we have force-free training needs, and I mentioned this before. So we are definitely team do no harm, management and learning. And I mentioned this before, so this relates to things like using aversives, etc. I'm a games-based concept trainer, but this would also be positive reinforcement or R plus training. So generally management is training too, and with management this can mean things like having a baby gate in place, or limiting the room your dog has access to, or having them on a leash, etc. So we go back to the other needs, like keeping our dogs safe, which is obviously the biological need and the kind of like bottom of this whole hierarchies. So keeping your dog safe will be included in management, and of course you can train your dog, etc. But even if your dog is trained, it might be wiser to keep a dog on a leash while walking on the street, simply because there just needs to be one moment of unawareness, whether the dog or you or whatever, or just a cat running along, whatever it might be, and this could be fatal. So this would be included in management. Then one thing I would like to highlight with forestry training, and as I mentioned, you can find the whole list with all the methods that are chosen, etc., on the download from the Hierarchy of Needs from Linda Michaels, or just go check out the games-based approach that I do. But one thing I would like to talk about quickly is the PREMAP principle, and because loads of people ask about this and seem to find it quite difficult to understand. So it's actually pretty simple. So the PREMAP principle is basically similar to teaching your child to eat their veggies first and then they can have ice cream. So this is basically what it means. So you want your dog to do something first they might not be keen on, and you basically combine it with something they can do easily. The behavior you want would be having them eat their veggies in this metaphor, and they want the ice cream. So in order to get to the ice cream, they have to eat the veggies first. So this is what is meant by PREMAP principle. And then lastly, we have cognitive needs. And we're going to talk about this more in the cognitive enrichment lectures. However, basically all of this, like everything about enrichment, is based on the hierarchy of dogs' needs, because what we want to do with enrichment is fulfill your dog's needs. So this is why we actually do enrichment, right? And the cognitive needs that are listed in this hierarchy of dog needs pyramid are choice, problem solving, and novelty. And we are going to talk about the choice bit in the chapter about providing your dog with agency, which is basically giving them choice, giving them more choice in their life, implementing options for choice in their life. Then problem solving, this can be done in different ways. So this could be done with a puzzle feeder, with a enrichment toy, etc. As well as novelty. So if you, for example, have environmental enrichment where you explore new places, or you add things into your dog's home that are new, or if you start a trick dog class, if you go to the beach, if you explore new sniffs, etc. So we want to provide them with things that are bigger than, for example, the apartment they're living in, etc. So everything that is new for them. However, we also want to make sure we're not overwhelming them. So I hope this gave you a pretty good overview of what the dog needs are and what we are going to basically base the enrichment on. So we are going to talk a bit more about the theory behind it, about the concept, before we dive into the different types of enrichment and how everything fits together. So keep these in mind. You have basically biological, emotionally, social, force-free training needs and cognitive needs for your dog. And then we want to find enrichment that helps with fulfilling these needs for your dog. What I would like you to do in the next exercise, and you might have seen that this is actually something for you to do. So this is not a lecture, but it's a worksheet. And I would like for you to write down what your dog's current day looks like. And you don't have to share this with anyone or anything, so there is absolutely no judgment. It really is just for you, something where you have kind of like a reference to go back to, and also a starting point, I guess, from where you can then implement changes and also see, okay, where have you been coming from and what did you actually change? And there will be most likely things that you want to keep, things that are going well already, etc. So again, there is no judgment around here. It's just for you to have a starting point, because we want to obviously individualize everything and tailor everything to your dog and your dog's needs, as well as you, obviously, as well, because you are the person providing your dog with everything and with the enrichment bits, because it's not just about the dogs, but both of you, because you and your dog are a team, aren't you? So without any further ado, I'll let you head over to the next lecture, and you can find the downloadable sheet there.